Hi guys, so I set out a couple of exercises that are meant for a bodybuilder who is in the beginning stages. Now, that does not mean that you can't follow these exercises if you're not interested in being in the bodybuilding industry. These exercises I set out specifically for strength training, power training, core training, and also just movement. And if you're interested in just increasing your power and strength, these are some exercises that you can do. Now, after the video, after you see how you do some of these exercises, I will explain why I put these exercises there and the functionality that they have. So I'll see you after.
Today we're going to do a couple of exercises for bodybuilding. Stay tuned and watch the couple of exercises I have set out for you today. Follow me.
We're going to start by warming up for about 5 minutes. I will be jogging at medium speed and doing jumping jacks. It is crucial to warm up because the body enhances performance and decreases the chance of injury. We're going to start our circuit by doing 5 sets of 10 of sumo-style deadlifts. My athlete is a beginner in the bodybuilding field, and this exercise will be essential to mark out key elements important for deadlifts. Follow these guidelines to perform a proper sumo-style deadlift. Box jump is a plyometric exercise that will shock the legs and up the intensity of the workout. I like to jump and squat as an added workout for the glutes. Be sure to follow these key guidelines when performing the box jumps. Stir the pot works on the core and balance. Make sure to do small circles on both the left and right directions. Next, we're doing drop sets, more specifically, training down the rack. Start off with a heavy weight and try to perform at 1 RM with this set. The goal is to do 5 sets of 10. 25 pounds is too heavy and cannot be performed properly. I will move my next weight to 20 pounds. This also is too heavy. You are cheating by rolling the body to help you lift the weight. The next 3 pounds, 15 10s and 5s are good because elbows are tucked in and I'm not using my body weight to lift the weights. 1 RM are good, but be cautious about your form. Tuck jumps are good to increase the intensity of the workout, aside from working on the legs. It works on balance as well. don't forget to take a water break in between the sets. Skull crushers work on the triceps and it is very good to call on the large muscle cells. This exercise is great for 1RM, but make sure to have a spotter since the weight is directly on top of you. Preacher curls primarily help exercise the brachial muscles, which is the lower biceps. This exercise aids the flexion of the elbow. We're now in the cool down exercise portion of the circuit. It is important to return the body to a non-exercising state. It helps maintain blood flow to the heart and brain. I did the bar side drape, which helped on stretching. And various static stretching exercises. And jogging at half the speed I started doing for my warm-up. I hope these exercises will help you achieve your ideal bodybuilding muscles. Every week, increase the reps or weight to keep your muscles chalked and see muscle growth and response.
I really hope that you enjoy some of the exercises that you just saw, but one of the things that I really do want to highlight is that you have to be very careful in terms of your form when it comes to some of these because they're very weight heavy and weight related, because it is strength training. It is really easy to transform all of the weight into the spine, which is something that we really do want to avoid. One of the examples that you saw in the video was when I was doing the training down the rack and I took the 25 and you saw my body roll and take the weight. That is very dangerous, especially because when you do this motion, a lot of the weight is coming down to your spine. And if you know, even if it's a 1RM, you have to be super careful and at least have a person that is spotting you, because that's something that you have to watch out when it comes to doing these exercises, which is really important. So now we're going to move to the section where I talk about each and every exercise. So we're going to first start with the sumo deadlift. So the sumo deadlift works on recruiting the large muscles cells of the hips, which is the hip flexors, the glutes, and the legs. So one of the things about the hip flexors, which is something else I want to highlight, is that that is one of the one point in our body that we don't use as much because we usually want to put all our weight into everything else basically except our hips, which is a very good point where we can transfer all the strength through. So even the hip flexors come very much in handy when you're doing upper body exercises and even lower body exercises, and that's one of the things that I really do recommend is adding hip flexor exercises into your routine at least once or twice in the week. So now we're going to move into the portion of some of the exercises we just saw, and we're going to start with the sumo deadlift. So the sumo deadlift works on recruiting large muscle cells and also hip flexors, the glutes, and the legs. So one of the things that I really do want to highlight is that the hip flexors are very, very important to work out, and especially adding it to your exercise routine at least once or twice a week, because it is a point in our body where it transfers a lot of the strength, whether you're working upper body or whether you're working lower body. And it's very, very important to work out that part, because it is when you're especially dealing with weights, the hip flexors take away stress from the spine, and you're putting a lot of that stress to the spine. So now we're going to move to the other workout, which is going to be the box jump. So the box jump works on the core, glutes, quads, hamstrings, calves, and even the arms. It's really simple. One of the things I do want to warn you is to be very careful about choosing the size of the box that you're going to jump in. Just make sure that you do it a couple of times first. Make sure that the height is safe enough, because you don't want to get hurt, you don't want to fall. And the most important thing is that you want to do the exercise with the right type of movement, so you can get you can work the muscles that you're supposed to work on perfectly. The next exercise that we're going to talk about is stir the pot. So stir the pot works primarily on the core, and also enhances spinal stiffness. So as you saw in the video, this exercise is supposed to leave stress off your spine. Your spine is supposed to be neutral during this process, because we don't want none of the stress to go to the spine. We want it to go to the core. We want to stress the core so we can call those muscles, those large muscle groups, to come together. Hence why it hurts probably. But if you start feeling it on your lower back, just stop and take a break and try again for a little bit, for at least one set, just so you can at least get the motion right in terms of not putting any stress, and try to think about putting all the force on your core. The next one is training down the rack. So I talked about it briefly before, but training down the rack is basically drop sets, and it's a great way to stress muscle groups, especially when it comes to recruiting those large muscle groups. You really want to do a lot of drop sets, which it's really great for you, especially if you're trying to grow the muscle, because it's stressing it a lot. So now I want to move on to the tuck jumps. So now the tuck jump works at a lot of different muscle groups in the body, including the core, the glutes, the calves, the hip flexors, and many other muscle groups. But I really do want to focus on the hip flexors, which is really important. Once again, something that we really want to try to work out. So this is one of the exercises that you can put for your hip flexor session in once or twice a week, that you can do to practice the motion of using your hips a lot more. So the preacher curls works on the biceps, as opposed to the skull crushers, which works on the triceps. Now, the preacher curls, the biceps, are the agonist form of the muscle, while the skull crushers is the antagonist form of the muscle. So this is a great way to do a superset. So superset is basically when you're trying to work these two different muscles, the agonist and the antagonist, against each other, so you can really gain that stress and get that stress to your arms, or any part of the body that has the antagonist and agonist. The antagonist basically means that it's muscles that don't want to move, they don't want to be exerted, worked on. Agonist is way more easier to access these muscles. So that's why it's a great way with supersets, especially because if you have short breaks in between those two type of sets, preacher curls and skull crushers, you're really going to stress these muscles, and it's a great way of doing it. I urge you to really try these workouts in the gym, at home, but just be super careful about movement once again, because it's much more important than the amount of reps and the sets that you have. And I urge you, if it's the first time that you're trying some of these exercises, take it a little slow and try for a little bit, and make sure that you're really engaging all the muscles that you're supposed to engage. Until next time.